wonderful people. So, the more observant of you will notice this is not Ghost of Tsushima, which was something I was planning on playing. To add to the series of unfortunate events, I then decided to buy The Last of Us Part 1, which is the remastered PS5 version of the PS3 game Last of Us. I wasn't going to buy this game simply because I bought it on the PS3, thoroughly enjoyed it, bought it on the PS4, thoroughly enjoyed it, and thought, no, I'm not going to get another version of this. And then I heard about the photo mode being upgraded, and I couldn't resist, really. I then got very caught up in life and forgot to put the disc in, and therefore it is currently updating and copying from the disc itself. So I thought, what can I play? Because I don't want to be too late. I was 3 minutes late, and I do apologise for that, but I didn't want to be too late. And I figured, I've got Session installed on the console. It's not the disc version, it's digital, and I will show you how to take photos using a video editor. And also, I just love this game. It is great fun. So with this game, you use the analog sticks to do your tricks. So I'm down on the analog stick to get your pump on to set up the trick, and then up does an ollie. If you want to rotate it, so do a 180 for example, you just use the analog sticks. I haven't quite got that right, but when you do that, you have to be aware that you've then gone switch. So I'm using the right analog stick to go down when I'm... wait a minute, I'll demonstrate that again. So when I'm facing to the right, so I'm regular, I'm going to jump, do a 180, and to do that, I pulled down the right analog stick, up on the left analog stick, and then used the trigger to rotate. To do the same in what we call, well, what I used to call Goofy. I think it's called Switch now. Go left analog stick, right analog stick up, and I'm now back to regular. So you can do many variations. Those who've played games like Skate will be quite familiar with... actually no, it is a slightly different control scheme, but they were used to using analog sticks to control their character. But you've got... I mean, I've got this set on very much vanilla settings. Oops. And I still managed to crash. But what I'm going to do, just skate around a bit, try and warm up. Because it's a simulator. It's not like Tony Hawk's, which is a fantastic game, by the way. You do have to line up your angles to get your grinds right. Manuals are very much the same as in Skate. You can transition into a grind. For some reason it didn't there. This isn't about skateboarding, which is predominantly where I'd be looking for lines right now. Oh, it just wasn't quick enough. Okay, that was an odd grind there. I mean, I have taken quite a few photos here. In fact, I've spent spent a very long time here. That's sort of what I intended to do. And the things you can do in this is improve your timing for a start. That's essential. I want to go down here, because you get some good angles, and this applies to the video editor as well. So if you just scroll back, so say that, for example, Pretty standard shot. Oops. I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima most of this time. But yeah, you can get some really interesting angles with this. I particularly enjoy the skateboard, the contrast against the sky, that sort of thing. Just need to go back just a touch. I'm not taking this photo, I'm just demonstrating a few things. So how you would do your normal controls, so you've got your depth of field here, and you just need to set a keyframe. And as you adjust it, I'm not going to do it by increments of 1. So as you adjust it, it's drawing the distance in until you get right down to 1. I'm going to bring this up to 10. Go up by 10. I'm pretty close now. So I'm just going to go into 1 increments to make sure. I need to look at his face because that's the furthest thing away from me. So I need to do that to make sure that he's perfectly crisp and the building is not. Now you're most likely looking at the screen going, building looks pretty much, oh I wish I caught those birds, pretty much in focus. But if I turn the montage view on, it's now nicely blurred out and those birds wouldn't have worked. But anyway, there are a number of ways you can do photography in this. You can either, God almighty, you could either do a trick and take a photo of it, or you can do a run, do the video editor, which is what I'm planning on doing actually, because I haven't done it that way before. Go into video editor, look through all of your stuff, and see if there's anything that catches your eye. So I am now switched, so I have to use the, whoops, the left analog stick to do my jump, put it into this mode, which, as I say, I call it regular. I don't know what it's actually called in modern terms, but I was never really a skateboarder. So this is very much my opportunity to skate, even though I never actually had the ability to do it. It's like an outlet. And there are many great spots, and I still find new spots as well to skate. I mean, one I hadn't thought of, and I've actually got some video of me doing this, is this little move onto there. I got the angle wrong, but it's just a gap you wouldn't think of. I mean, any skateboarder is probably watching this going, duh, that's kind of what it's like. You're looking for new areas because, quite frankly, we don't travel that much. I'm thinking, actually, I know we can get down, we're fine. Let's have a look here. So we've got quite a few nice rails, areas to grind, areas to jump down. That was a really, really bad one then. Everything's bad. Wow. I mean, it's only been about a week since I've played this, so I'm really surprised by that. I suppose you can get rusty very quickly. So there's any skill, if you don't use it, you lose it. First thing I've spotted is this here. I think that would be a nice backdrop for a grind or something like that. So just sign it up. Oh, my eye is off today. I don't need speed, I need location. So I like how he's sort of framed. His body position's a bit off. But that was a really nice little frame. just about there. So now I'm just going to be looking at angles to find the most interesting one. I could probably get a way of moving him a little bit forward so it doesn't look so odd. Just noticing his arm is actually through there, so we need to work with that. Definitely don't want this negative space. I'm very interested in this wall. But unfortunately, I always attempt to hide anything like that, where something clearly isn't designed to work that way, it just happens. Finally got a decent grind. Let's see if we can do that again. Nope. I'm yet to learn why that happens. Is it speed? I'm not sure. But anyway. One of the things I like to do is, when it comes to editing, I like to mute my colours. And vibrant games like this are a wonderful opportunity for that. Ah, I just got the angle wrong then. That's interesting graffiti there. But yeah, there's loads of little blocks like that, which is so cool. Okay. So what I want to do is just do a nice little transition onto... Haha, sorry about this. Eventually, I will get into the flow of this game again. I mean, I'm not overly precious about it. And that wasn't steezy in any way, shape or form. That was like a right angle, done. So, things that I can see. That's quite a nice frame. So I need to be quite high to get advantage of that. That's a really nice shadow as well. So I can possibly incorporate that. Now I'm sort of going for a portrait shot, so I'm going with the fill the frame approach. Making sure the shadow is in there. His head's a little bit high. So I'm going to zoom out a bit just so I can really capture the frame. So we've got that. Let's bring the instructions up. I am not going to bother with depth of view, depth of field, because he's so close to the wall, it would make no difference whatsoever. So really, that just leaves me to take this photo. I want to balance it out a bit. Because I'm thinking that's the most interesting part. But, going to capture it with the frame. I just need to straighten that a bit. So that's going to be cropped, but I want to investigate this further. I'm going to move across actually. So we're not looking at angles. That brings the shadow of his... It is his right hand, but the one on the left of the screen. I quite like that. I'm going to straighten that up actually. Because as you can see, by the grey, that's what I'm using to straighten it. And ironically, it's put quite an unusual angle on the slope itself, but the line that intersects the shadow is really good, so I quite like that. Nothing really here worthy of taking a shot. I mean, you got the leading line across his back where his elbow's on, sort of framed by the Open 25 hour. Love the joke, by the way. Only just noticed that sign. So the blue that it's that it's on. Interesting things. I'm wondering if I can line the side of the building up with that pillar a bit better. But either way, we've got a picture out of it. And what I'm predominantly looking for is just interesting frames, things like that. So it's basically street photography, but with a skater. So where have I not been here? We've got quite a few nice little areas you can manual across. And line one up. Okay. Completely messed that up. I like to believe that if I did these movements to some fashion on a real skateboard, I'd be able to achieve these tricks. But I wouldn't be able to jump that. I'm just not that good. I want to get a grind on here. Okay, let's go the other way. Let's make that a bit easier. Things I love are ollies that are exceptionally close, or tricks that are exceptionally close to the obstacle. I just think that they really, like for videos and things like that, it looks really good. Okay, so what we have here is a very plain picture, but you've got a diagonal line that points to him. You've got a shadow that points to him. It's more clearer there. He has a nice moving frame, which is that waterfall. You've got the wall, this black bit behind us, which also leads to him well. So I've got choices. Fortunately, this one doesn't lead to him. And there's no rule. I don't have to use that. So I'm not overly precious about it. I think I'll change photo mode. There we are. So what I can do, let's try this. And the lighter background makes it easier to focus on his face, but that's still, I think the shadow was the better option. No. I think I was right to go the other way. Now that is a very interesting grind. He's still looking away. I wonder how the shadow would play on him, actually. So I don't want orbit camera, I want free camera. So no. I mean, I like the play of shadow, don't get me wrong. One of the angles I tend to go for in video mode is, I like whenever you've got, I want to call it a K grind. I don't think it is. I think it's a crooked grind. But I like to have the board facing you when you do it. The wheels on this are tremendous. I think they're also a very interesting feature. So there's quite a few things you can do here to make an interesting one. We've got these great textures here as well. And then just zoom up a bit. Let's just go a bit forward. Make sure his hand is in. So we've got quite a lot going on. We've lost the diagonal line leading to him, but we've still got the shadow doing it. You can see that he's in a crooked grind. We've got the grill there. You've got the paving slabs. Excuse me a moment. So I can set it up, even in video mode, exactly the same way I would do in photo mode. And I will zoom out just a tad. And what I'm doing there is giving myself freedom when I want to crop the image. Because you can always take away stuff in editing. You can't put it back. So I'm just giving him a good bit of space. Yes, the arm across the black marble wall in the background is not ideal. So I am now going to adjust the depth of field. Just bringing that down. I always do the same thing. I don't pay enough attention. So he's almost perfectly in focus. I'm looking at his arm in the shadow now. And wait until that's a nice crisp line, which it is. So the end result of that is I've got him in focus. There's a soft focus on the grill. The path near him is fairly in focus, but it goes out of focus in the background, so we know what the subject is. It's fairly clean around him, so I'm going to take that screenshot. Now, just want to check that reflection. Oops. No, it's just a standard pattern. But yeah, other beauty of this photo mode is it's not a photo, it's a video editor. So moving is not an issue. So if your character is not quite perfect, so say for example I'm going for an interesting angle on that skateboard. I want it juxtaposition to the shadow, for example. I can just move it till it feels right. Which would of course be that horizontal line. So again, fairly interesting. So it just gives you more options to really dial in your shot. And this building's quite interesting behind us, so it gives us a chance for a good frame as well. May drop it down a bit so you can do shots like this. I'm not going to, but you could. Oops. Yep, even the curbs can be grinded. There's a really interesting thing I saw, I think it's JL Nightmare do, but you can set up a slide. I'm trying to set up a slide. Standard controls don't seem to be working. Don't know what's going on there. There we are. So, when you do a slide, which is in Switch, it's both analogs out. If you lift one of them up, he does that little thing. And that can be kind of cool. I mean, one of the shots I got for Instagram, if I can find it again, I think I'm going in the right direction. I'm not going in the right direction, I don't think, now. But oh, it's too late. It inspires me to look around anyway. No, it's not there. We're actually in the wrong corner. Oh, that was nice. So let's put on free cam, and by free I mean free. This truly is a joy. I would say I digress, but I just want to show you the extent of flexibility of just the brilliance of this video mode. They have done such a great job that I'm actually able to lose my character by traveling around. But anyway, let's just zoom in. Maybe a bit higher. I really want stop in that. That's about right. Now, he is quite small. Fortunately, us humans are hardwired to look at faces. We tend to look at the brightest thing first, but or the highest contrast and stuff like that. That's what our eyes notice, but then we notice faces. So I'm going to utilize that natural tendency to incorporate stop in this, but to really make him stand out, you guessed it, depth of frame, depth of field. I'm not really a photographer. I just like mucking around with stuff. Now, these are varifocals, hence the strange expression. The only other way of doing it is going out of shot, having a look. He is most definitely on the cusp of being in focus, but unfortunately the menu is just in the way, so I'm going to have to trust myself. Give it a little bit more depth. I'm going to try 55. There's a slight sheen on his shoes. His body is fine, but unfortunately the building behind him is pretty much in focus as well. I'm still going to take that picture though. Just need to line it up a bit better because I want it to be central between the T and the O. That doesn't quite work. Let's just move him a bit. No. Definitely like... Well, I really like that, but I'm going to just accentuate the skateboard a bit. I'm going to not be so boring. I'm going to keep the stop in there, but I'm going to center the frame on him. This is going to be in portrait, so I'm not going to be able to capture all of the stops. I need to be able to capture enough of it for you to know what the word is. Okay. And again, this is more street photography tips than anything else, but this is a completely unplanned stream, so I'm running with it. And this is something I pulled off, and it is a clip in one of the videos, which I think I put on here. I think it's a small clip I just chucked together. I was actually intending to do it for Instagram, but it was just too long. It's a 4-minute one. I think I called it messing around between streams. Oh, that was a lovely big spin. That was an ugly revert. And the BS is backside for those who don't know. Oh, yeah, you can even do low pop ollies, low pop nollies. They really have made a very well-rounded game. I cannot praise this game enough. It has given me hours of entertainment. Even this little area here, really cool. The video editor is very, very good in this, but I didn't want to actually play this game on stream because I didn't want... imagine there's not that many people doing session content, and I don't want to get people's expectations up. You know, like, oh, I found someone who streams this game. No, I'm a virtual photographer who breaks skateboards by the looks of it. I'm just doing this to give you an idea of, well, another tool to your belt. Well, this is so much easier when you don't talk, this game. But yeah, I'm just giving you more tools to play with. Now, for copyright purposes, there is no music on here, but it does actually have a really nice soundtrack, this game. Oh, I knew that was going bad. But once you're committed to something... Longest manual ever. We're almost where I wanted to show you. But either way, I want to look at that replay. Is there any interesting shot? Any interesting frame? I mean, it's a very, very boring run. It's just simply I think that was a heel flip. No, it was a kick flip into a nose manual. They've got quite a nice avant-garde sort of style to it. He is got a nice frame there for him. Let's go back to see. I mean, we can do a frame within a frame. Within a frame, because technically the edges of the picture is a frame. And by portrait, I mean this is going to be a... Well, it's called device setting in Photoshop Mobile, but I think it's a 4:3. I think. But I've got a lot of interesting shapes here that I may play with just to make this a more interesting photo. It is a little bit bland right now. So I liked the intersecting across the cross. Triangles are always an interesting thing to play with. So I'm trying it on the other one, which I cannot line up for the love nor money. There we are. So that's kind of cool. So, is that too cluttered after I've gone to all that effort? I mean, if I go to about... Well, I'm going to have to raise it. No, cannot raise it. So it would be difficult for me to describe this to you. But the idea is I will crop it so that we've got the two pillars and then the shadow underneath where the building comes out. I'll keep that in it. I may be tempted to do the bottom of the windows. I won't know till I see it, and unfortunately there's no frames on this for me to demonstrate that, which why would there be? It's a video editor. And I like the addition of the triangle from this frame, but I'm starting to think it's a bit cluttered. I want it quite nice and clean. It's an interesting structure to the building. Like, it's quite a nice texture on that. but I don't really want that lamppost in there. Actually, let's just try that. No, too distracting. I have a bit of the wall in the foreground just to give the picture a bit more depth. So the Z-axis, I mean, not depth as in contrast. And again, raise that up a touch. After talking about the windows, I sort of made the decisions myself. I am going to experiment with depth of field. But the interesting thing is, I can't actually see my character. So that makes things very challenging. So effectively, I've just got to guess. The main thing I want is the foreground to be blurred. So I'm going to try and achieve that. And that certainly didn't work. So let's bring that to 600. No, just doesn't work that way. Again, it's a video editor. You really cannot complain at all. It's a great job, but there are ways of doing that. He says now thinking about ways to do it. Again, leading lines. So you've got this coming towards him, but we do know that that's quite boring. So let's go up a bit, quite a lot. Let's look down. Let's see what we've got here. So he's not on a great line. Let's see if he was in this. I'm trying for a central, which is more central there. Maybe this one. Doesn't quite work. Let's bring this down. Maybe introduce a bit of texture. No, I have a better idea. Practice some grinds on the way there. That didn't work. Standard skateboarding game thing. Hold down the stick for longer to get your a higher ollie. Okay, I really will try that again. I was tempted, but I want my character looking at you. I may go into switch to achieve this. I am going to go into switch to achieve this. I'm not going to make it into switch to do this. Here we are. And if anyone can explain to me why a nollie is suddenly fakey, that would be very interesting. Oh, after all that effort, I did a low pop nollie. Backside nose slide. Okay, again, we're going for photos, not videos, so I don't need to be massively quick. I'm going to set up the ollie now. And the annoying thing is off stream, when I'm just playing by myself, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have quite a few moments like this, but not to this extreme. Where I'm falling all over the place. So, problem is it's so... I think I can get away with that. It's so small. No, I can't get away with that. That's annoying. I will explain my shot later, once I actually get it. But I'm sort of thinking... would it be possible... Another pro skateboard session tip. Place markers. For when you do stuff like that. So I'm going to set the jump up. I'm not going to set the jump up. Oh, it's too high for me. That's a shame. I was going to try and do it nice and set it up so it's an easy shot. Just jump straight over it, go into the grind. That was my theory. So I'm just going to cruise up to it. This does not make for an interesting video, I know. So I do apologise. I mean, I make all of my videos out of my streams. So the shorter form content will be a little bit more interesting. Okay, so I don't want to jump too high, so I'm going to start going in quite sharp, get the grind, and see how that turned out. Because what I originally saw was interesting textures, leading line up to someone doing a trick. That was so much effort to achieve, but I have achieved it. Can I now work with this? I want that almost a straight line. Raise it up a bit so I can angle it a bit more. Now I can't quite work with that, so try a different angle. After all that effort, it just doesn't work. It's too dark. And in videos, you can make these things look fantastic. I should really demonstrate that to you, actually. Let's do this. It's sort of unfair that I'm doing all this and I've never shown you how to do the editor. So what I've done now is I have used the right bumper, and you used, well, you've got the, look in the bottom left, you can see the controls. So the left 3 to set clip start, it was already at the end, so I didn't need to press the right. Montage is where you apply all the effects that you want. Now I've got it on free camera. I know he's going to come here, and so I'll just set it up with a nice diagonal there. That's where I want to end up. But to start off with, I'm just going to go to camera, use the smooth transitions, just going to zip along. I think it was about there, so I'm going to stay here, and I'll show you that. Nice and simple, but quite boring. What I can then do is set the field of view. This you set, and then quite often I need to adjust the camera again just to frame it up a bit, because I'm going for quite the zoom. So about 30. And here, I want it back to 100. Actually, 70 will do. No, 80. So now, we've got your start point, your end point. That's all fine. You can then use the depth of field, which you've seen me do in these pictures, to just draw it in a bit. Obviously don't need it at 1000, but as you can see, the background's starting to blur. So I know that I need to make a tiniest of adjustments. Maybe 05. That's fine. He's still in focus. And of course he is. I mean, let's face it, he's if he's in focus there, he's going to be in focus here. So you don't need to actually apply a great deal of waypoints. Now I'm not going to muck around so much with having him perfectly centered. I will in that here, but not always. I may actually a little bit to the left. About there. Got that. Now we've got a little trick. Oops. Actually, before we do that, let's set a bit of camera shake on. I'm just going to put 10% to give you an idea of what it looks like. This is the part I'm interested in, so I'm going to go to play rate. So I have that at 1. About that at 1. I want this here to be really quite slow, so I'm going down to 0.2, and that's just a nice look what I did movement. And that's video editor. You have different lenses you can use, so for example, put that down there. So that really does do the old sepia thing. So you set, it's basically the equivalent of a slider is this. So it's between 1 and 100%. You can change, I'm going to cancel that. So to apply that, that's how you do it. But how you choose your different filters is just by pressing the square button. So you've got black and white. You have a blue filter. And I'll show you what that does. It makes everything cold, so a little bit sad. But if you adjust it to more realistic colours and just have a hint of it, then that's the effect that has. You have green. Not really sure what mood that goes with, but if you want to accentuate greens, then that's what you do. And again, you can drop it. It will still bring out the greens, so the trees in the background, his shirt, which is currently behind the floating window, and that bush, I'm going to call it, on top of the planter that I'm doing the trick on. And we're back to sepia. Other things that you can do is time of day. Exactly what it says on the tin. Night. I mean, these are in hours actually, so it's better just to go through. So you've got a nice little sunrise going on here. So you can really set your mood. And these can be useful for photos as well. And then we're going back to night time. Well, this is dusk. Let's see what it looks like at dusk. Yes, I put this at the wrong place, but it doesn't seem to matter. You also have... no, that's literally everything. I have now shown you camera mode. I haven't shown you how to use it to the best that you can. In fact, no. It would be remiss of me to not show you this properly. So, let's go back a bit. Other things you can do is... You see now, so I'm going to set it... Really wish I hadn't got that camera on. So let's remove that. Now, you have smooth keys, linear keys, and you have constant keys. So what you can do is you can use a constant key. I'm just going to move a little bit past it. And then I can change my position to much lower down. Revert it back to smooth keys. Oops. Put it back to smooth keys eventually. Maybe do it this way. Need to remove these. So we now know that he's completely out of frame. So we need to raise that up. And the smooth keys will, you know, no matter if there's a twist in the angle or anything like that, it will adjust it. You can also set the roll as well for something a bit more interesting. And the smooth will counteract that. So we've got that, but we also want to grab the landing. I'll give him a bit of scope. I'm going to have him on the right hand side. I'm now thinking that's a fairly good picture actually. Ooh. Just going to grab that as I'm toying with the idea of removing some of the background, but I don't think I will. Just grab that picture. Anyway, where was I? So, I want it about here. But I'm not going to mess with the field of view because I want him to just do that. So that is actually far more interesting than how I had it set up before. It's not perfect. So we're going to bring that up. So we want him fairly central there. Yeah. Brilliant photo mode, video mode. You can get some truly creative stuff. And this leads me to what I was talking about before, when I got set up a slide by just... didn't quite work, but I used that fountain as, or a leaking fire hydrant, I think they call them over there. I used that as a frame for him, and that made quite an interesting picture. So yeah, just a tool to slow down can make an interesting picture. You've also got things like this. Because humans really notice when you break a pattern. And that is a classic pattern that we are all familiar with. So just having him in here makes it quite interesting. It's not greatly positioned though. I'm not going to take it, but the other thing to note, it's an odd number, and for some reason that can really work in pictures as well. There's a lovely run down here actually. I'm not going to do all of it because again you will have seen it in, or you may have seen it in my video that I posted on here. Oops, completely fluffed it, but it doesn't matter. Oh, is he going to go the other way? He is. Don't know how to transition manuals. Haven't quite worked that out yet. Okay, a little bit of a glitch there. As far as I understand, this is a fairly small studio, and they have done an astounding job. Really have. A little bit between the graffiti. Drop him up. Oops. Just using that to frame him more than anything else. Not overly fussed about the squiggles so much. I really rather like the colourful bird and what appears to be a speech burble that's swearing. So that's kind of cool. So I definitely don't want to muck around with the field of view. I'm going to, but I really shouldn't. The depth of field, sorry. So, bring that back a fair chunk. I'm going back to 10 now, but I'm looking above all of this to the buildings behind us. So the grey one where you can just see the top of the windows. That's what I'm looking for. The bit where I did that really terrible run. So drop that back. Now I'm using just single increments to bring the graffiti and the poster back into focus. Oops, hang on. That's a bit annoying, you know. That really is. So, let's remove that, back to here, reframe it. Was about there? I'm going with about there. No, I think it was more central. And, oh yeah. I think it was more about there. Maybe a bit further, no. I can't perfectly recreate it, but I'm going to turn that on. Oh, this is going to be annoying. So, let's remove that. Let's remove that. I don't know why it's doing this. Really don't know. But unfortunately, we're not going to get that shot because it won't let me. Just checking, see if there's any secret missions or anything around here. Be rude not to while I'm here. I've already used these two. It's not a unique idea. I'm pretty sure I've seen it before. But what I'm doing is, if it'll let me, you've got the cyclist. So there's no, well, it's cycle route, I believe. But I'm just framing him in the picture because I just like the contrast of it more than anything else. Need to move forward just a tad because that litter just makes it a messy shot. There's nothing I can do about that flattened, I want to say, a water bottle. Is that interesting? No. Is that interesting? No. So, let's try doing something that makes it interesting. Out of orbit mode, let's go into free mode. Still want a bit of an angle. And if that means losing some of the bike, so be it, because it's still recognisable. But he's doing something. The skateboard's an interesting angle. I'm tempted to blur out everything behind the bricks on that frame. I am going to do that, actually. So, depth of field. Actually, before I muck around with this, I don't get it. Why does it keep reverting to there? I'm just going to clear everything, see if that helps. And camera shake, get rid of that. Play rate, get rid of that. Need to get rid of those. And I think we've cleared everything. Can't get rid of those. Turn that on. That seems to have helped. Okay. So it was about, because it was definitely facing. Maybe a further back. Now got it at an angle where it's almost parallel to the frame. I think that's pretty much where we were. So depth of field, let's apply that. Bring it back to at least 300, then we'll go back slower. What I'm looking for is the bricks to get faded, and then I will just drop it back a section. His legs are slightly out of focus, but I rather like that motion blur. Let's get rid of a little bit more of the sky. Going to draw that right in a bit, so I'm filling the frame. Because the brightest parts are the skateboard, the cycle route sign. The greatest contrast, I would say, is the blue rail. So that's quite interesting. The greatest contrast, really, is the skateboard itself and his shoes. I think that makes a fairly interesting picture. Now, while I'm taking these pictures, always just try and picture it in portrait shot aspects. But also, I tend to have the character in the center when I'm taking the picture. I don't always do that when I'm actually taking pictures, but being that I'm using a landscape image and I'm going to make it portrait, I tend to just put them in the center, or if I can't recreate the angle, they'll be on a side of the screen, but the character is always. Actually, that's not even true either. Sometimes I just take a picture of things. But in this scenario, he's the center of the shot. And so just imagine a third of the screen, but a sixth of that either side of him. And they'll give you an idea of what the picture will be. Just double checking I had taken that. I have. That's cool. No harm with just readjusting. Maybe not through the wall, but seeing if there's any other good shots. Definitely want to have his face in there. Skateboard is the main priority. Do I care about his arms so much? I think I do. So I'm just looking at angles at the moment. Because I'm trying to capture the shot without his derriere being a main focus. But I like how the skateboard's now breaking the lines of the two barriers, because that should draw your eye to it. He's quite nicely framed by the awning, I think that is. And there's quite a nice composition there. And it is always worth, when you're taking pictures, just to do different angles. And I mean radically different. Move around a bit. Pardon me. So now I've used the blue frame and everything to... I mean the rail to frame him using the glass awning there. You've got the leading line of the shadows up to him. There's quite a lot going on there. But it wasn't a great picture. Yes, I am going to jump this. No, it isn't a good idea. How many times can the man spin? Again, got him a nice light background. But that tree is just a bit messy. But those birds are pretty cool. Stairs pretty cool, but don't like it. That's way too crowded a shot. Let's change the angle a bit. Now I'm trying to use this fence to almost separate him from the skateboard in a meaningful way. But I can't seem to do that. So, can that do it? That can. Don't like the background. Slightly better background. Can't quite get him in the shot. Oh. That was more of a reflex than anything else. Let's go off my skateboard. Let's just go up here. Oops. Now this is actually quite difficult. Very difficult, actually. But I don't need him to land. I just need a picture. So the elements I'm using is foreground to give the picture depth on the Z-axis. The ledge, which acts as a leading line. You got the tree that acts as framing, and now I am just looking for an interesting pose because I'm quite happy with this frame, how it's all set up. Maybe adjust it a bit more. Give me a bit more freedom. Now I want to incorporate the gap. I want that to be something rather striking. Oh, I'm tempted. I really like that. Quite like that. Okay, we're going to try the depth of focus and see how we get on with that. And it was roughly there. I am very concerned about that happening. So let's dial him in a bit. Excuse me a moment, sweat has just got in my eye and that is exceptionally painful, so I do apologise for the slight intermission. Wow, did that sting a bit. Okay, so turning that on, nice blur, he stands out a lot better. Slight sheen on his shoes, so let's just bring that up to 50. Trees are now in focus, so that's not good. But up to 48, that's as far as I'm really able to go. Ooh. A touch of field of view, actually. Let's just bring the elements, bring the elements closer to each other. So have that there. We'll go back to the depth of field because that's changed. Uh, 68 seems fine. 78 looks fairly good as well, but I'll just bring it back a touch to 82. So he looks much more in focus. The background is a lot less, but we've still got all of the elements that make it an interesting picture, but just closer together, so I've got more of them in the shot. Which I think it just makes it better. So I'm quite happy with that. In the background, that's quite interesting. So we're going to walk over here. This is a really nice texture and colour and so on. So I'm gonna... Sorry, my English is terrible. I keep saying gonna. I'm going to just cruise up to this. No, that's not going to work. And turn orbit off. That's where I want him to be. About there. I am going to roll it just a tad. go right in, lift it up a bit. So I want all of the building in here. Not so much floor. Oh dear, sorry about this. Not really designed for warm weather, which is odd because I truly love it. Okay, so again, depth of field. Bring that right back until, okay, maybe not to that far. And then, oh yeah, montage view on would be helpful. Which now means I have to adjust the field of view. And depth of field, we're back onto here. So the background is slightly blurred, but I'm not overly happy with that. I need to adjust it a bit more. So I'm going to go up and then just slightly adjust till the front is in focus. There's a slight blur on it, but that still works. I like that picture, and that's just practically a central frame shot. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Really, this is just a photo of colours more than anything else, because you've got the sort of golden yellow and the really dark blues, and that works very well as a backdrop. So I am more than happy with that. Actually, yes, I definitely did get it. So let's remove these, see if there's anything on there. Nope, so that's all of them. I forgot there was a rail there, sorry. But while I'm playing this, falling over a lot, might as well talk about my plans for this, because I've done quite a few streams of how to do different forms of photography in game photo modes. So what games lend themselves well to landscape and that sort of thing. But what I'm actually planning on doing is playing all the way through The Last of Us. Yes, I'm going to be taking photos all the way through because that's what I like to do, and I bought the game for the photo mode. I mean, it's a astoundingly good story and always worth a play, but I've played it, well, completed it maybe 3 times, something like that, I'd say. So my plan will be play that, so if anyone is interested in the game but it's not quite their game to play, they can see the story, because it is different to the was it Amazon or Netflix, or was it even Disney? I think it was Disney actually that did Last of Us. So it is different to that series, only slightly, and they did a fantastic job. Actually, such incredible height, and you've got the chemtrail. I don't know why they call it a chemtrail. It's not really chemicals, it's just hot wings meet cold sky. That's all. But that's the term we've got for it. So what do I like more? The streak or the traffic lights. That clutters the shot. Or we can go close in. Find a good angle. Maybe off here. Oh, now we've got a triangle. That's just lovely. Great little mechanism there. Looks like he's flying. Left a skateboard behind. Very, very strange. Wait for the birds. Can I wait for them to be behind him? In doing so, I missed it anyway. In doing so, I lost one of the vapor trails. Love my flips. Really do. It's because they're easier than setting up grinds. Whoop. Let's scoot down here. Sometimes you get some really extreme contrasts which you can use down here, which is kind of cool. I mean, predominantly I've used this I've just used the editor to make skateboard videos because I just enjoyed the experience of it. But obviously I've observed these things like this really hard line there. A deep shadow, very bright sky. Perfect. Got some interesting graffiti here. A skate park in there actually. And this always sets you up well. So this is what I mean. And on Instagram you will see this exact picture. Well, not exact, but this frame. Leading line up to him. So it was something like this, but I made sure it fanned out in a straight line. So that sort of image. But I've already got that. And I tend to avoid doing the same shot unless I feel like I can take it better. Oh. That's what I'm interested in. How did that work? Back a bit. I mean, very, very fascinating. Life underground, but not quite what I'm going for. So I'm going to bring it right close. Oh, it's in orbit mode. That is why everything's strange. So we've got the sun there. Just a slight roll on it. Where do I want the skateboard? About there. Not even going to muck around. Take that shot. Now I'm going to wait. So we've got a fairly light cloud in there. But what I'm thinking of now, if the sun will remain where it is, it'd be great to just have clear skies. I mean, yeah, I'm going to take most of the blue out of that. I'll probably turn it to a grey. But I still don't want clouds in this picture. I want it to be a fairly clean shot. And the clouds are just a tad too bright. And I know I can adjust this in editing. But it's a little bit bright. It's taking attention away from him, who is the main character. He's framed slightly off center. He's not even on one of the thirds. from the rule of thirds, but I rather like how it looks like he's almost resting his hand on that orange bollard, I suppose you would call it. So we're getting close. The sun has behaved to some extent. I'm hoping a random bit of fluff or litter like that doesn't block the view, because we're very, very close. And I don't know if there's another cloud about to drift across the screen. So we're not quite there yet. Not there yet. Could probably get away with there, but I don't want anything on... Come on, litter. Go away. There. Got that shot. That's just not an interesting shot. I'm not even going to farm it for any more. Have I done that before? I don't think I've done that before. Oh. Went for a crooked. Come on. Ha ha. Come on now. Stop mucking around, King. Let's do this. Obviously he wants to do it switch. He doesn't want to do a switch. I don't want to play anymore. It's not being nice. Again, every skateboarder knows this exact experience. I've got an idea in my head. I want to achieve it. I know I'll fall over a lot, but I want to achieve it. Okay, that was unexpected. I keep missing it. You watch. Like, someone who's actually good at these sort of things will just... First attempt, go up to it, get the shot. Bosh. Poor old me. Trying to demonstrate street photography and trying to get an interesting picture. What was that? 5? Close to 10 attempts? And I wasn't really happy with this. I mean, it's a clean board slide. Actually, we're going a bit abstract. I just really like that. That's really cool. But I need some skateboard related stuff going on. And field of view will be much, much closer. Nope. It's not field of view I want. Depth of field is what I want. Go with 1 to start off with, so that's on. 10. Bit of skateboard wheel. Kind of loses its impact doing it that way, actually. Doing it that way doesn't matter if it's slightly blurred out, simply because it's like interesting lines more than anything else. I may actually rotate it a bit. Make that straight. Okay, let's try this again. I want to make sure that the wheel is very, very prominent. I'm going to take this picture and then I'm going to experiment some more, because I feel there's a lot of playing around with these strong lines in that post and also on the skateboard. I like the curve of the skateboard. If anyone's still watching this, kudos to you, because I am being exceptionally self-indulgent here and just taking the shots that I want to do, and they are somewhat unusual. I really like that though. What I like, strong lines. I really like the textures on his shoe, including like the felt texture on the top of the shoe. So again, kudos on to the studio and the designers for this. I like the graffiti. I like the red brick against the grey brick. I like the dark sand coloured road above. I just think there's a lot going on there. What's there not to like? Cannot do the same this way, and wouldn't bore you trying. Oh, I am genuinely melting right now. This is such a nice change to how our year has been. That was an epic laser flip then. So quick. And then he follows it up with a terrible one. Oh, let's go up here. And no, I'm not going to attempt that one again. It's just, I wanted to look at this. Missed it. Oh, ha ha, nope. Great little feature in this game, actually. You can move items around as well. So that bench, for example, I can just pick it up and move it out of the way, which I think is really cool. So you'll be able to, and you also have props, I suppose you call them, that you can earn as you play this game. And yeah, so you can put down little pop ramps and stuff like that. That's too slow on there. And yeah, set up little interesting routes. Okay. Oh, I'm not brave enough to have loosened trucks. As this stream will show, I'm not particularly talented at this. And quite a few of the clips in the videos that I've made, after many failed attempts. Especially this bit here. Going from there to this to that. Your mind's got to go so very quickly. Like doing anything of any interest off here is quite difficult. Oh, I misjudged that massively. So what sort of look have we got here? Interesting use of smoke. Park is kind of cool. He does have a very intense stare, does our character. When you're pulling off nonsense like after the things that I've getting him to do, that's kind of understandable. I feel like the board has lost some of its impact there. So I'm just going to let it rotate a little bit around, have a bit of separation, reframe the shot, maybe roll it a bit. I'm just looking at different angles. And a lot of these things that I'm doing are present in photo modes as well. It's not unique to a video editor. So I was trying to make that line straight, but that just looks weird, doesn't it? Or do you like it? Photography, as with most creative things, is subjective. It's what you like. I feel like I'm taking photos for the sake of taking photos. I don't think that is particularly striking. Kind of cool if that graffiti was the main subject. Use him as a frame. Just having a nose up here. I can go up there. By looks of it. That is most certainly worth an explore. Oh, you tease. Can't go up there. Poor vous. This is another great spot for photos. So, just even having him just nice and central in the picture work, in this works as a frame. That's kind of cool. Eyes on orbit cam, that's why everything's so slow. Can set up some really interesting angles. Loads of foreground features. Things like that. Different textures in there because you've got the tree, you've got the very coarse concrete. Again, the paving slabs. You've got really interesting tiles in the background. To which point no, nothing interesting. But then that's my fault. I didn't do anything interesting. Maybe if I did something similar here. I'm just trying to remember. Come on. Turn orbit off. Whereabouts this works. Where was it? It was around about here. Now, where works the best where we can get a lot of these elements in? So what I'm doing, if I can remember the controls, is I'm actually using the, I can only call it a sculpture even though it's just a disc at an angle, using that to force the frame to really close the shot in on him, because although I did enjoy that graffiti, it is rather distracting. So this is more an image of textures. Most likely that bollard won't fit in the crop, but if it did, I'd only use a small amount of it, unless it made the left edge of the picture look a bit messy, then I'd take it out. Just going to do a little bit of depth of field. Probably don't need to do that much. Done it again. I just need the buildings in the background to disappear. Well, it's all or nothing. That's pretty annoying. That is him perfectly in frame, but I don't want anything else in frame. But I can't blur those things out. I'm wondering if I can get... Because you tend to use... So in the rule of thirds grid, so it's two like that, you tend to use horizontal lines or vertical lines to go on those lines, where if you have a point of interest to your subject, you put them where they intersect. That's how that works. We do have some fairly strong ones, so I'm just going to do a slight roll. But trying to judge those as a straight line when you don't have a straight line to use is rather difficult. So that may be slightly adjusted when I'm editing, because I can do that. And again, I'm going to do the field of view as well, just to bring him a little bit closer. Not too much actually, because I don't want to lose too much of this slab, so this step. So I just need to adjust the depth of field, just bring it in a bit. I mean, draw it out a little bit more. Because it's not just him, I want that wall to be pin sharp as well. Front step's nice and blurred, but it's still a feature. The buildings in the background aren't so overbearing. I rather like that. Oops. Haha. I mean, you've got to try these cheeky little moves, just in case you can pull it off. You never know. It's like, that is quite high. Oh, did you see his head bounce off that? Oh my days. Skateboarders are made of stronger stuff. Either that or they've just got numb to it. It's just par of the course. Oh, that was ugly. Wonder if there's a way that I could jump high enough out of the grind to go to the next one. That's actually a really interesting building. I've been so absorbed in skateboarding in this game, I've not really looked around at it. Need to move this. Sorry, but shopping cart, you can go here. Right. I want maybe a... I didn't really want that, but... Go up a bit. too steep an angle. You go up just to make this a bit more realistic. Need a bit of roll, maybe. No, too wrong way. Don't need that much of the ledge, I just need a smidgen of it, let's just say. So that's too extreme. So now what I'm looking at is actually the window panes. I'm trying to make, at the top of the screen, I'm trying to make equal triangles out of those panes. Can't tell you why I'm trying to make that, but that's what I'm trying to do. I'm going to take it, but it's not that interesting. A shot. Let's go really close in. What can we get here? Again, rotating, moving around. I've lost a lot of what's initially attracted me to this. There's only so many times I can take a picture of the bottom of this board. I really, really like it though. That's the problem. Let's have a look at this graffiti. Wow, they even did the handles. You legends. Not quite clicking for me, you know. He could not hide his disappointment. Poor lad. He obviously thought that was the money shot there. Whereas something like this could equally be the money shot. Like, that was close. Again, is that an interesting building? No, it's not. Do I want to highlight the fact that he only just made that? Yes, I do. Can I do that with this? Not quite. But sometimes I like where my mind is going. Oh, this is so close. No, I don't need that much of the building. So again, I'm going to see what I can do with field of view. It's about 80. That's kind of cool. Draws everything in, but he still fits within the window part. So I quite like that. Just, oh, sorry for hitting the microphone then. Just gonna try this. Just a soft blur on everything. I mean, there's nothing I can do about his trucks and his wheels. They're bright white on a white background, so there's no way I can do anything about it. But are they really? They are important. So, what else can I do? That. And you'll notice I'll keep taking photos. Well, actually, you probably don't notice. Whenever I take a photo, in using the share function, the camera, this bit where I'm waving at you from, that will disappear. And that means I'm taking a picture. So, the reason you'll notice me disappearing is I'll take a shot just in case. So it was okay, and maybe with some cropping, I'd be able to get a good picture out of it. But I'm just taking it just in case I move it and I cannot get it back. But I think this looks better. So for you, I just disappeared. For me, I can still see myself over there. And that is a fairly interesting shot. It's a bit straight on, granted. I'm going to, oops, adjust the field of view a bit more. Obviously I'm not. Sorry, I just messed up because I did the depth of field, so I need to fix that a bit. Make sure he is sharp. So I'm looking at his back shoulder. Right. So let's draw that in a bit more. Like, fill the frame sort of more. I'll have him like that. Again, adjust it. He's sort of in the frame. That works. The wheels are more apparent. You can't really see what he's jumping, but that doesn't matter. So I've now got 3 options of the same picture. I will choose which one I like, and then I will edit that. But that will end the stream. So from next week onwards, so for as long as it takes, I will be playing The Last of Us. Quite often off stream I play different games, so there will, if you're interested in seeing my photography, just go on to the on Instagram, search for King of Etiquette, all one word, all lowercase. You will find me and you'll be able to see all of the pictures that I've been taking over the last few months anyway. Since at least February, something like that. But I take a lot of pictures. It's been not all of them great, granted. In the early days, it's been a journey of discovery more than anything else. I've been researching a lot, learning techniques, getting used to the software, that sort of thing. So I'm very new to all this, but I just feel that there isn't that much content on virtual photographers. If you are looking for something else to watch after this, there is Photography Gamer. He's well worth watching. He will tell you about the different photo modes in computer games, and he does a great job of it. So well worth checking out. And I've got a few videos on here. If you want to watch those, you're more than welcome. If you want to be notified of upcoming streams or when I release videos, then just like and subscribe. And most importantly, have a wonderful weekend. So thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to see you soon.